I hope now you can hear me. Akash, if you can confirm me. Yeah. So, hello and welcome. All the regrets for the delay in the starting. Actually, we faced some technical problem. Now, without wasting any time, I would like to introduce Webtel Electrosoft Private Limited, our organization. The company was incorporated in the year 2000. We are a 2 decade old company. We're the first in TDS and XBRL compliances. Basically, we are the service providers. We deals in software solutions to BPO and KPO activities to education, training, and host of other IT-enabled services. From being compliance solution providing company to various Government of India initiative to the benefits of professional and corporates. We have partnered with various government departments such as NSDL, Income Tax Department, GST, and MCA. I would like to mention that we are a team of more than 400 professionals, including CS, CA, legal, and software. Our softwares for professionals, starting from TDS, tax, GST, virtual office, web edge to corporate solutions for GST services, e-way bill, invoicing, and a complete payroll management solution named as HR Pearls. So HR Pearls is a payroll and management software which caters all the needs of any organization. So these are the modules of our software, which includes PMS, payroll management system, CMS, compliance management system, HRMS, human resource management systems, and ESS, employee self-service module. Also, our app is available on Android and iOS. All the services for HRMS and the modules I was talking about is available on the app as well. We'll talk about this later. These are the process and deliverables of our solutions for HR fraternity that we provide, and we are the leaders. Here is a short look of our clientele. So majorly, we are serving a lot of clienteles and our presence is pan India. So coming to the session, I would like to introduce Mr. Rajneesh Mathur ji, who will be the moderator and one of the speakers of today. Sir has 3 decades of experience in sales, learning and development in engineering, education and BFSI verticals, an accomplished L&D professional with more than 2 decades of rich experience. He has worked in L&T, NIIT, NIS, Max Life Insurance. Last corporate assignment served was with Max Life Insurance as Vice President, Learning and Development. Further to this, he is now an excellent trainer and a facilitator who builds leadership and managerial competencies, practicing coach in the area of leadership and life coaching. Welcome, Rajneesh ji, to our platform.
Thank you, Shubham, and good evening, everybody.
Good evening, sir. Moving ahead to our next speaker, Dr. Payal Kumar. Dr. Payal Kumar completed her Masters of Arts from the School of Oriental and African Studies, UK. Then she went on to complete the fellow program from XLRI, a premier business school of India, and is today working as a professor and chair HROB and assistant dean international affairs at BML Mal University, Gurugram. Dr. Kumar is editorial board member for several prestigious international journals and is a senior reviewer in A category journals such as Journalization Behavior and also include 12 books with a Palgrave Macmillan Prangle Publishers. Dr. Payal Kumar as an inaugural recipient of the Andre Lee Robbins MSR Retreat Vice President Sage Publications Limited. Dr. Payal Kumar.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So so as we already were into a technical glitch, so I'll just switch on to Rajneesh Mathur ji to start up with today's session on the challenges that our HR fraternity uh, has to deal with in the coming year 2021, and how technology may help them.
Okay, Shubham, thank you so much. I hope I am audible. I can see Dr. Payal Kumar's video pinned. So, ma'am, if you can just give me a thumbs up if you are hearing me all right. Okay, thank you so much. So, first of all, a warm welcome to all the participants who are, as we understand, clients of Webtel Electrosoft. I have had a privilege to work with the organization, and I am quite honored to be back with Webtel team along with Dr. Payal Kumar. So, without any further ado, starting our the topic of today's webinar is to spend some time on what are the HR challenges. We know that in year 2020 it was an extremely busy and challenging year for the entire human resources across manufacturing, across services, across business verticals. So not only now in 2021 can we say that human resources across organizations survived, but they came up with innovative practices of a varied nature. And enough has been said already many a times that human resources were involved in ensuring that employee workforce continues to operate remotely. Uh, they ensured that there is workplace safety even when some employees return to workplace or otherwise, and the entire talent team working for them needed to be purposefully engaged. And I think kudos to all the HR colleagues who are on the call in the meeting today for having done a wonderful job. So, and I believe each one of you have played an important role in getting your act together, in doing what I just mentioned. And I'm sure it has been a period of new learning for each one of you. Learning from a point of view of adopting technology in your respective ecosystems, in your respective organizations, and also adapting your existing work processes, maybe designing new work processes for what are the current challenges and the way you see your future just ahead of you. Now, I'll quote a survey which has been recently conducted by Randstad SourceRight, and that's a multinational organization, and they reached across to about 850 HR managers and CXOs across 17 markets, including India. And 65% of these respondents, they said that the role of HR has shifted significantly. And what does that mean? We can see it from the dimension of HR having become a strategic business partner for their organizations. They have been seen to be agile and also seen as a flexible enabler, and in the sense that helping the organizations take smarter, better decisions for the larger benefit of the organization, helping everyone deliver their work in a greater and smoother fashion. uh, I can also say that at a lot of organizations that I have been talking to, I have been interacting, I've been reading about, a lot of progressive HR practices have started getting adopted, with people being right at the center as their cornerstone, as their approach. And the evidence suggests that those organizations which have picked up HR as their key differentiator, and within HR, the human resources functions have, as I said, um, innovated themselves, adopted technology solutions. They have been able to, outperform their peers and other organizations with which they, compete. Talking about the same survey, the same set of respondents, about half of them have confirmed that they or their organizations have started investing in technology solutions so as to ensure and so as to maximize the talent experience of their employees, of their organization itself. Now, how is technology helpful? And we have been beneficiaries of technology for several years. In fact, all of you would confirm and agree with me that the pace of technology changes have accelerated such an extent that we sometimes miss the contribution of technology in our lives. So, but couple of obvious things that technology has helped us stay connected in this pandemic in the last 10 odd months. Not that it wasn't, but it really made its presence felt. It helped us in enhancing collaboration amongst ourselves. And technology, especially in human resources, has the potential to reduce the effort and the cost that goes into manual processes, for example. And as a resultant, the productivity of the organizations can really, improve, and in certain cases, improve drastically. So we keep hearing in today's times the buzzwords such as artificial intelligence, big data, analytics, machine learning, deep learning, and sometimes we wonder whether these are just buzzwords. But actually, they are not. Come to think of it, organizations, and we'll talk a little later, the Webtel team will talk about how they have developed technology solutions to help organizations. But for the moment, just to illustrate, it would be enough to say that, when we open a website, we are welcomed by chatbots these days. So chatbots have started interacting, with new employees as far as the, at the time of onboarding and induction stages, they have started interacting with customers. Organizations have started using these tools for checking out and analyzing, maybe sieving through CVs and resumes when it comes to recruitment. And of course, Dr. Payal in a little while will talk about analytics as well. So whether, if you look at the HR spectrum, whether it is recruitment, whether it is onboarding, whether it is administrative issues like attendance and leave monitoring, payroll management, employee engagement, training and development, performance management, collecting feedback, there is great opportunity for technology solutions. They are available in the market. And with that little context, let me now invite Dr. Payal Kumar. Ma'am, since we wish to get into a panel discussion to use the best of your time and to help benefit the audience, is it okay if we can start with the first question? Thank you. So I was very happy recently to read your article, which came out in ET HR World. And in that article, you have mentioned about the overall health of the employees and their well-being coming up as one of the important consideration for human resources. So my question is, how can organizations use technology to be seen as empathetic and caring towards its own employees?
So thank you, Rajneesh. Thank you so much for having me, and Webtel Electronics. Thank you for the invitation. I appreciate it. So there's been such a paradigm shift for HRM all over the world globally due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And all of a sudden, workforces have had to shift from brick and mortar offices to work from home. Now, work from home, even the terminology has become a new normal in a sense. So HRM has had to make this whole shift, not just employees, but then after some time, employees were very jubilant in the beginning. They thought, "Ghar se kaam karenge, we'll work from home and it's great and fantastic and we'll save commute time." And there's a lot of euphoria in the beginning. But then later on, it started, employees and the HRM resources started realizing it's not a magic wand, right? I mean, it's quite difficult for teams to be working from independent home areas. And this has led to depression. This has led to fatigue, what we call being on the laptop too much, that kind of fatigue. No end timing, like when you leave the office, then you have to get through the rush hour and you have to leave at a certain time. When you're working from home, there seems to be no end timing. In fact, I used to hear from a lot of people in the corporate sector that our life has become even more busier and crazier, and there's no such work-life interface at all. Now, work-life balance, the latest phrase is work-life interface in the latest scholarship. So many of these problems started coming up, and depression, loneliness. They say that John Donne, the famous poet, says that no man is an island, which means that we are not isolated beings. We need people around us. People started missing even the water cooler talks. You go for a coffee in the office and you meet somebody there and you have a chit chat. That was not happening. So loneliness, depression set in, lack of physical exercise because of the lockdown. People have to stay indoors. So I think HRM, HR personnel started realizing it's so important to look after the people's health. But when I say health, I mean holistic health, not just the physical, but the mental part also. How can we use technology? Of course, we can use technology. Technology now, even your phones can monitor your heartbeat and your BP and everything, isn't it? So if one puts one's minds to it, you can really do it. And also, I think CSR initiatives also, they should be very much health related now, for the health of society, people at large, not just in the organization, but around the organization. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, ma'am, it does. It does. In fact, I am learning a new term today, work-life interface, which you mentioned, and also the fact that the technology tools, the current literature says that mobile apps, while they are so much in our lives, they seem to be now in the eyes of state-of-the-art technologists. They are saying it's past, and now the trend is moving towards wearables. When you can wear, as you mentioned about monitoring your vitals, BP and sugar or heart rate, etc. So yes, the trend is moving in that direction, and of course the corporates can, as you rightly said, direct their CSR initiatives to ensure that their employees first, and the outreach, which is maybe in days to come, we can see certain organizations taking care of their partners, vendors, their suppliers as well. So yes, we can say that. In fact, I am once again drawn by the same article, and you have in this article given a very beautiful example to illustrate the power of data analytics, and just shifting the subject a little bit, which is within HR but within the domain of technology. So my question, ma'am, is that how employee behavior can be analyzed to predict, likely attrition. And in fact, you have mentioned that before the employee actually quits, the employee behavior can be observed, and that's where analytics can come in handy. So the specific question is that what could be some more ways in which the HR function can use analytics to its advantage?
So, Rajneesh, technology by HR departments is largely being used for collecting data collection and administrative work. Like you get big companies like Accenture, Oracle with thousands and thousands of resumes every day from all over the world. And so bots are being used to go through the keywords and shortlist candidates. So it's saving a lot of administrative tasks, but that's basically collecting data and sifting through it, right? Now AI can also, it has a predictive force, which is what you've mentioned and which is what I wrote in that ET article. So if AI is able to collect some data, so it could lead to certain implications, which if a senior HR personnel reads, would then help them to predict certain behavior. So as I've taken, we're always concerned about retention, especially of very talented employees. So there are simple things like let's say you have 1,000 employees. It's difficult for just a few people manually to be monitoring everything. But if you set certain parameters for your technology, so for example, absenteeism, if they start observing that one staff who's usually on time and usually very punctual and work oriented, if the data starts showing that this person has stopped being punctual, is taking a lot more leave than what they usually take, so then that's already a sign, isn't it? That could be, there may not be anything, maybe the person's ill or there's something wrong in somebody with the family, but it could also be a sign of the person's not happy in the workplace. So, intention to quit, I always teach my MBA students, intention to quit is possibly more dangerous for an organization than actual quitting. Because if somebody quits, that means they've left the organization, they may not be happy or they're going to greener pastures. But intention to quit means that the employee is disgruntled for some reason, but yet they're not leaving, perhaps because they don't have any other opportunity or whatever the reason may be. But that creates a lot of negativity in the organization. Not only does the productivity of the employee, go down, but it creates a kind of a negative effect, one bad apple spoils the lot kind of effect. Cynicism sets in, and that there can be negative about everything around them, and that does spread, unfortunately, to other team members also. So trying to get AI analytics to try and get to put out filters for intention to quit. It can be done. And then if you feel somebody's not happy, then you can go and talk to them, isn't it? Is there something bothering you?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Then you get that human interface, which is so important, right? But if we don't notice that amongst all the jobs that we're doing and the tasks that we're doing every day, we may completely miss it, right?
Yeah.
So this person is really disgruntled. So that's what we call passive aggressive behavior. They may not come up with any confrontation. They may not come up with a conflict. They may just internalize and they become very disengaged, of course, in their work, but they may internalize it and you may not notice because you're dealing with hundreds of people. So there, AI analytics can help in prediction. But I think this is fairly an untapped area. I think we can do a lot more in this area. At the moment, technology has been basically data collection and payroll and, monitoring, like, how many days you've taken CL and blah, 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 and your payroll at the end of it, and performance management indicators. So it's more collecting data and sifting through data. But I think companies need to look at predictive analytics in much more detail.
Yeah. No, I think you have explained it very nicely. I think it is now said that data is the new oil for the economy, and huge amounts of data are potentially can be generated even in a mid-sized organization. Especially if you were to combine your answer given to the first question, which is about, let's say, the health parameters or well-being parameters of an employee. And then if you add to that his performance appraisals, his achievements, where he was given what kind of feedback, and of course, to the question that you answered in terms of if there is some amount of dissatisfaction leading to an intention to quit, we are looking at potentially massive amounts of data, and that is where technology would be needed, and it can really come in as a aid to human resources first, and through them to the respective people managers, where they can take timely decisions, they can escalate, they can do remedial measures, as you rightly pointed out. So, so this sounds very exciting to me, Dr. Payal. And if I were to be kind of do some crystal ball gazing, we are saying, and my question to you would be that within HR, which set of activities or which set of functions do you think will benefit the most with adoption of tech-enabled tools as we look at 2021?
Okay, so as I said, the data collection, the manual activities, the lower administrative work is largely being taken care of by the bots, right? So your resume collection and resume shortlisting and your payroll and your leave collection and all that's happening. So I mean so efficiency is greatly increased. Huge amount of data can be trawled through quickly by less people, which of course means that perhaps you don't need that many people, which is a downside. But ideally speaking, all of this efficiency should then free up HR to do more high level type of work, which is what we call strategic management, human strategic management, right? But I find that perhaps that is not happening. So the point is, you have efficiencies, it frees up your HR to do more thinking, to get involved with the senior management. And HR is so important in terms of strategy, because your vision and mission of the company is so much related to the type of people you hire, isn't it?
Yes.
So let's say, for example, in my last organization, I was a vice president in an MNC. We were 6 vice presidents and 1 CEO. Now let's imagine that, a completely different group of 6 vice presidents and 1 CEO were hired. Vision and mission is the same. But trust me, the company would still go in a different direction slightly, because the people at the top, they really make a difference to the direction in which the company is going in, isn't it? Yes. And HR needs to get so much involved. It is always seen that strategy is the realm of the vertical head of finance or marketing. And I really just disagree with that, because the type of people you hire is so integrated in your, fulfilling the vision and mission. If you hire the wrong people, then you're not going to get very far. And also building up a culture of, when we talk about organizational culture, it's basically a set of norms and values, which could be largely unwritten, but you kind of know that it's there, that this is our type of culture. So for example, a startup culture where everybody's quite young and they're maybe age less than 35, they could be having a work hard and party hard culture. So maybe they start the office at 11, they finish at 10 at night, and they all go out and party. So that may be their culture. But the point is that HR needs to build up a culture and, number one, identify what it is and build it up in a way that everybody feels that they belong. So that brings in the question also of diversity and equity, isn't it? Yeah. So you may be from very diverse backgrounds, you may be from all over Pan-India, different regional backgrounds, but you need to feel that you belong to that one culture. And here, going back to analytics, a little bit of role can be played. So for example, if the technology can also pick up gaps in pay, in your pay structure. So again, if you're dealing with hundreds and possibly thousands of employees, you may not be able to notice manually, but if you see the, technology can pick up, okay, there might be a slight pay gap between these two people who are actually doing a similar kind of function in different departments, So it also brings, so these are all strategic issues that I'm talking about, higher order issues. So we're getting freed up, there's more efficiency, but are we actually going, into these higher order ways of strategic thinking? I really think we should be.
Sure. So what I'm picking up, Dr. Payal, is from the answer that you gave to my last question, that technology adoption in HR has a great potential to really, free up resources from doing the repetitive and monotonous tasks, bring about efficiencies, and the same employees can be deployed in more value-adding activities, which creates opportunities for their retraining, reskilling, and you also, in the second part of your answer, you mentioned about the senior management using the benefits of technology to articulate the strategic intent and strategic execution as much as it is needed for the business at any given time. So right now, as we are passing through these difficult times coming out of pandemic, I completely agree, and I quite like you alluding, and not only alluding, mentioning directly about the organization keeping in mind their own context and helping build organization culture around that. Yeah. It's quite interesting as at this stage to just take a pause and reflect that while HR is always was known, is known, and will be known for doing all its functions revolving around people, and the theme of today's discussion is about technology. So it's quite interesting, and I read somewhere where the person whose comment I'm going to sort of echo, that person said that we need to have a human face in technology, and our minds should be ready for this wave of digitization that is upon us. So with that reminder, I am going to ask you a little cheeky question. I hope you don't mind my asking, because you are an HR and OB expert. My question is, which new technology are you most excited about that can have or may have a huge potential to disrupt the traditional HR way of working?
Well, I mean, there are many. There are things like Darwin Box, again, which, they bring in everything, your payroll and your attendance, and there's so many things over there. But, don't forget, Rajneesh, I mean, I'm going to be cheeky and go a little bit on a tangent also to answer this question. And that is that, there's a downside. There's a downside, and that is that, we always think technology, as I said, is the magic wand for all our problems. But don't forget, it leads to less personalization, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you get your salary slip and you go to the LMS system and you get all your details. Earlier, we used to maybe just pop down to HR and have a chat with them and, how many leaves do I have left or whatever. So that personalization has absolutely gone. And we're already so much glued to our laptops and our phones, and this just increases it, so that technology fatigue can set in.
Yeah.
Don't forget that. And, so I think we need to be aware of the downsides. I don't honestly think it's all a hunky-dory fairy story. Stephen Hawking, the late Stephen Hawking, in fact, he has said that technology, will one day be the end of mankind. So we already have bots which have started speaking to each other in a language that we can't understand, right? And so I think they completely did away with that particular project because the human scientists got scared that, what are they saying? We don't even know. And then there are other very negative things that I would like to bring up. So for example, bots are a reflection in a sense of us as human beings. So they have also found bots which have imbibed our stereotypical views. Again, that's very worrying, sort of bringing in gender disparity, that's been found in the language of bots. So there are some very worrying aspects of technology. And I don't think we should just say, your question that what is the most striking technology that's going to come? I really don't think the world is going to change necessarily in a very beneficial way. We also need to take care of the darker side and be aware about it.
Yeah.
Again, the biggest darker side, Rajneesh, don't forget, is with technology coming, there's going to be a lot of loss of jobs. A lot of loss of jobs, okay, unless people can upskill. But you know, how many people can you upskill and to what extent? And it's not simply your lower level skilled jobs like your truck driver or something, you know, with the driverless vehicles. It's not just them who are going to lose their jobs. Let's say you have a doctor who has spent so many years studying to become a doctor. And if there is a bot who can that can go through hundreds and hundreds of patient data and come up with a diagnosis slightly better than a doctor with less mistakes, let's say, then who would you go to? Would you go to the doctor or the bot? And then don't forget that, then how will you upskill that doctor who's been studying for like, you know, I don't know, 8 to 10 years or something, right?
Yeah.
We keep talking about upskilling, you know, but what are we talking about? How do you upskill very high level employees? It's, I kind of feel that there's something wrong in the question, if you don't mind me saying.
No, that's okay.
There's lots of technology which are disrupting HR and organizations worldwide, but there are a lot of downsides also, which we really need to think about very carefully. And I really don't think anybody's thinking about this. So for example, I was part of a board recently in which we were talking about coming up with a conference on technology, and everybody, all the board members were talking about how wonderful and this and that and our life is changing. And I kept saying, but we can't do a conference just simply on the, you know, pristine elements and what's like a rainbow out there, because that's not the story. Huge amount of unemployment. Maybe we'll come to a 4-day work week. Maybe we'll get a lot more game addiction because people, what are they going to do in their free time? Yeah. There could be a lot of societal problems. Yeah. And I think we really need to take cognizance of that.
Sure. Yeah, this answer can only come from you because this only confirms that, let me say this, this confirms that you are a pakka HR and a people's person, where you are helping us draw a line in terms of saying that, excitement and enthusiasm is all right, but we need to evaluate the benefits of technology, and you illustrated it then. You gave an example of bots chatting with each other, and how even in their language they are coming up with gender disparity. So this is definitely not those outcomes that they were initially thought of as solutions. And yes, those are the a few things that we have to be careful about. And in fact, I'm going to ask you a more specific question around that caveats. But Dr. Payal, I thought it was a good opportunity for me to remind you, and if you wish to talk about your recently edited and written book, which is on human and technology resource management. So we are still on the intersection of people and technology, but maybe a different perspective. Ma'am, you are muted.
I've done this book with Professor Pavan Budhwar of Aston University. He's the Dean of Aston University. And also with Anirudh Agarwal of, he's done his PhD from Copenhagen Business School. And we've done this together. It's just come out, it's hot off the print. And in this, I'll just read you a few stories, some interesting chapters. So the title of the book is Human and Technological Resource Management, New Insights into Revolution 4.0. And we were very fortunate that the Professor Chris Rowley of Oxford University, he wrote the foreword. Some very interesting chapters we have, like futuristic organizational design. So every chapter has been written by different authors. A polycentric network, forming digital competencies for the future, HRM 4.0 and the shifting landscape of employer branding. And we have one on gig economy and artificial intelligence. And a very interesting chapter, this one's from India, on digital reverse mentoring as a strategic HRM tool. where a youngster in a large organization was teaching these analytics and technology. So that's called what we call reverse mentoring, where a junior mentors a senior on a certain aspect. Then we have a chapter that I was a co-author in, country level comparison of Industry 4.0 in Germany, South Korea, and the United States, policy implications for India. And a lovely chapter by a journalist, Samrat Chaudhary, that will the pandemic bring HRM 4.0 closer to home? So that's interesting because, in fact, I asked him to write that chapter. We were just about to go into print, and we were heading towards 4.0 and technology and everything, but then maybe the pandemic brought that much faster, isn't it? Because then people were working from home, and then we had to use a lot of communicative tools. So this book has been published by Emerald. It's an academic book, but it's worth reading, I would say. I mean, obviously I'd say because I'm the author, but
Yeah. No, I think these are, very, very interesting facets that you have brought about. And I think as an extension to the previous question, you did call out the caveats, which is what I was about to ask you. And I think it would be fair to say, because today in our webinar, I am mindful of the fact that there would be organizations that are getting represented, which could be at their different stages of not only HR evolution but also the tech evolution within HR. So and I think the message, I'm sure you would agree with me, would be to say that while all these tech trends are good to know and we feel extremely excited about, especially analytics and bots and AI applications, but one has to really, and those who are decision makers have to really assess what is their context, what is their ecosystem, what is their current organizational culture, and of course budgets, which they can which are allowed or which are available, and what is the need of the hour. Because right in the opening remark, I had said that organizations have got this very right thanks to last year's experience, that they need to have a people-centric approach. No matter which technology they may like to pick up, but they can't be leaving their best assets, which are their employees, their people, high and dry, and therefore the choice would be an extremely critical one. So this brings me to the last question, ma'am, and my question would be that uh, how should HR managers, and again keeping an eye to the audience, how should HR managers pick up learning agility to prepare themselves for this new environment that is coming up, which is tech enabled within the
so
HR function?
obviously they need to have a learning propensity. One would imagine that they have a love for learning. Yeah. So one would imagine they have a learning propensity, a love for learning, and then they would obviously need learning agility. So they have to be like one step ahead of the other employees, isn't it? If
Yes.
they're going to recommend some tool or some new application, and they have to budget it, and they have to convince the CEO why it's effective. So let's take for an example, training, right? Training, mentoring, coaching, all these developmental processes that happen. So here, when you do some training with some staff, you obviously have to justify it and you have to show that it's useful. So one should do like a pre-test analysis, like analyze the skills of the team before the test, and then a post-test analysis to analyze those same skills after the test and see if there's some difference. And ideally, there should be another pilot group in which another group also who have not undergone the test, the training, and then you compare. So then if the training has been useful, then there will be, and the skills will go up, or the understanding of the employees will go up, isn't it?
Sure.
So there you can use AI as a tool. So basically, we need to see AI as a tool for what we are trying to achieve. So we're trying to achieve better training, and we want to show that the training has been effective. So I'm just giving that as an example. So I feel AI and technology should not be the end all and be all. It should be our tool for what we want to do for the company, whether it is to enhance employee engagement, enhance training, whether it's to build a culture of employee engagement. Are all our staff engaged? And it should not be to the extent of becoming draconian, that you have the camera on in front of the employee all the time and you just keep watching them. I mean, that's so perturbing, isn't it?
Yes.
I have had so many complaints from people in the corporate sector at the mid-manager level that our bosses are asking us to take screenshots of the computer on the hour, every hour. I mean, who does that, right? That's very draconian. So you need to let go of your staff, and as long as they get the end result, really doesn't matter how they get it. You need to trust them and move along with it, right?
Sure.
So it's a tool. I feel it's a tool. It should not be the end all, and we should not be possessed by AI. We should use AI for whatever landmarks we want for our particular company. Just say like money. Money is what? It's a piece of paper with a particular value. You can use it for amazing things and you can use it for criminal activities. It's what you want to do with it, isn't it?
Sure. So I think that very, very nicely sums up, ma'am, your thoughts around the topic that we had chosen for today's webinar, in terms of what are the kind of challenges for HR and how those can be solved through technology. And I'm sure, before I hand it back to Shubham, what I would, for the benefit of the audience, would like to remind that, a couple of things that have emerged, that in through this discussion that we have had. I mentioned about the fact that when adversity visits us, as it was the case last year, because of the COVID, because of the pandemic, because of remote working, because of challenges at an individual level, each one of us have risen to accept this challenge, do our level best. The HR function has innovated itself and have come up with their own strategies, and in this effort we have seen adoption of technology. So while there will be, and I'm sure team Webtel is going to talk about some tech-enabled new solutions, but we need to keep in mind the people dimension, because any organization cannot deliver what it sets out to if it doesn't have its own people with them, with understanding the strategy, duly trained, be in the right position to use this technology, and as Dr. Payal said, not allow technology to become the better of us. And she quoted late Stephen Hawking also. Albert Einstein also dreaded the fact that one day technology can take us and make idiots and stupid people out of us. Sorry for these words, but this is a good reminder that we need to keep this in mind, and yet be welcoming enough, and be adaptable, be vigilant in picking up new trends, new technologies, so that we can perform in our roles. We can raise the level of performance of our organization collectively. And on that note, I would like to hand it back to Shubham and Team Webtel for the rest of the webinar. Thank you, Shubham. If there are any questions
Thank you
from
so much,
anybody,
sir, for your
Yeah, if there are any questions in
Thank
the
you.
chat box, I'll be happy
Yeah.
to answer. I think Dr. Payal has sort of dropped out because she had some commitments, but I'll be happy if I can take on one or two questions before you take on, unless you want to start off with your presentation.
Yeah. Yeah. Payal ma'am is still connected with us. Sir, thank you so much for all the kind words and explaining his all the questions throughout. Sir, a couple of questions came in the live chat. One is in relate to the employee satisfaction, which has been, denied, missed by the HR fraternity, which comes into their KRA due to the pandemic and due to the, loss of personal connect. So,
Mhm.
what's the role of technology in this, and how this can be treated in 2021?
Hmm. So, see, employee satisfaction is a very important metric, and a lot of organizations give very high importance to check the health of their own employees by conducting employee satisfaction studies. And while the employees may have been away from work, they have they are not disengaged, they are still engaged, they are working remotely. Some of them are reporting to offices now on a roster basis. In fact, in the government sector, there was no work from home except for the first 10-15 days. And so the point that I'm trying to highlight is that through apps and through uh, certain tools through which the employees or the organizations stay connected with one another, you could run a questionnaire remotely and ask the employees to answer those questions in terms of how well they were supported during the pandemic, what are their high points, how were they engaged, what kind of training development was rolled out for them. um, so if that dialogue through whichever means is possible, then I'm sure the employee satisfaction survey can also be conducted. So it's not that it can't be done. Each organization has to evaluate what resources and what options do they have. But those who have done in the past and swear by it, and they have their conviction coming out from the value of employee satisfaction survey, should not drop it, because that can be a hygiene factor, and it can lead to a lot of dissatisfaction that my organization earlier used to conduct ESAT and now it is not doing, whereas
Right, sir.
now the opportunity is to do even more frequently.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much. I've got a couple of questions relating to one particular problem, sir. We have seen most of the companies shift to work from working to office or full time now, as the lockdown has already been taken care of and people have started face
Shubham,
the
your audio
illness
is.
that it's
I'm missing out your question on the audio. Do you mind putting it in the chat, or maybe just checking the audio at your end? Yeah, go
Hello, sir.
ahead.
I'm audible now.
Yeah, you are audible. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, sir, I got a couple of questions from the live streaming, which relates to the problems. Uh, Hello, I'm audible.
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah. So, sir, which relates to shifting from work from office to work from home, and now coming back to work from office. So a lot of HR managers, HR heads, and also team leads are facing these issues that some of the organization are asking their employees to join office like alternative days. And so it's quite hard to manage. Like earlier we used to punch in the attendance through biometrics, and then it was supposed to happen through online attendances platforms or through an excel sheet. So now it's quite hectic for them to realize all these things, that which individual is working from home and now coming to office on which days. So all these compliances when it comes to attendance is quite a hectic task.
Yeah.
And as to the team leads, it's quite difficult to identify which particular person is working from home. So they have to maintain particular Excels, and then at the end of the month, it's a humongous task to cope up with the compliances set by the management or the
Sure, sure.
policies.
So I think this is a genuine problem which will be faced by many organizations as they decide to ask their workforce to come back, maybe in lots, maybe following a roster pattern as far as work schedules are concerned. And whatever little I know of Webtel, I can only safely say that maybe you are the people who have already found a way out, a technology solution. And that if that is the case, as I'm guessing right now, if that is the case, then you might like to share what is the solution that you have come up with. And I'm sure, like me, everybody else on the call would be happy to know if and in which way can this problem be addressed smartly. Shubham?
Yeah. Right, sir. You rightly mentioned we have a tool. So I would firstly like to start up with the point where you left. You mentioned technology not taking over the human efforts,
Yeah.
but in certain cases, the technology is certainly required. To improve the productivity of a firm, or say for a team, or maybe take the human hours away from which can be maintained through a less at a lesser expense. So,
Mhm.
sir, in that regards, Webtel as an organization believes in problems, is solving these problems. And I will, what I'll do is I'll just quickly take away the presentation to Prashant, who will show a demonstration of one ESS module of our software, which I already told is HR Pearls. So over to
Okay.
Prashant for giving us a quick tour of the ESS module in our HR Pearls utility.
Thank you, Shubham. Thank you very much. And thank you, Rajneesh sir, Payal ma'am, for sharing your views. And yes, we have, developed an application for ESS, which we can say for employee self-service, by which employee can raise their request of leave, they can mark their attendance, or do all other things like reimbursements. They can download their pay slips as well, and even their HR managers or their management can take care of their reports and all from that portal. So now I'm just going to share my screen, and it's already on your screen. It's visible now, and it's very much easy. We have designed it so much easy so that each and every employee, either it's from a lower level or it's a high level, they can easily manage without any special training. And we have also given a mobile app for the same application, which is available on Android and iOS platform both. So let's have a look. And here we have the dashboard. Just starting from the dashboards, we have given so many widgets over here. And also in the right top corner, we have an option for reminders as well. Now in the screen, I'm showing you that how widgets are looking here. So first is the leave status. Employee can check their leave status, and also they can apply for their leaves. They can apply their live attendance, and they can also check their attendance calendar on the same, like this. This is the attendance calendar. This is a live calendar, and it's by color bifurcation we have given over here for present, absent, or all other categories of the attendance. Now in the left side, we have given a menu, and in menu we have many options. But as we are talking about that, how HR persons can over their employees, how they are working from home, and how they can interact through the technology. So I'm just going to show you those options first. First is the leave and attendance. There is the option of leave, from where employee can mark their leave. Either it's a normal leave, it's a special leave, or it's a comp off, and their manager can approve from their portal. So it's totally technical. Just go to your mobile app or your ESS portal, mark your leave, and your manager will approve from their mail or their mobile app as well. So this is the section how a leave portal we have given. And the second thing is, just a minute.
So Prashant, do you mean that we will be able to apply all these attendances and we'll be able to check our leave status through our app, sitting at our home before sleeping or waking up?
Definitely, sure, definitely, because we have given such a easy platform so that you can handle it from anywhere, because its database is on cloud, so you can access this from anywhere, anytime. Now, next I'm just going to show you the attendance part, where we have also integrate the location capturing, which we can say geotagging. This is the option which is really appreciated by our existing clients as well. And this option, how you can use this, whenever employee punch their attendance, this location automatically marks into the report, and HR can check their reports from their portal. So this is very helpful option. So you can track on your, either it's a salesperson or person working from home. So you can track on each and every employee from this part. And apart from this, we have also given a most, where I can say it's a very good option of online chatting. So by this option, you can, we can give you the two solutions. Like first, you can check whether which employee is online. So he must be with their phone, mobile app, or on ESS. So one is the live tracking, and second one is the chatting. So they can chat to each other, and anytime they can create a group. They can, interact with their HR, their admin, and all. So apart from this, what it will help to the HR or admin or management level persons, we have given an option of admin dashboard. So this is a very good option which we have incorporated in our application. This will give you a summarized way of, you can categorize your employees. You can check in a single click that how much persons or how many employees are active, their attendance, their leave. You can check the departmental summary as well. So it's a concluded view the management can check for this. So we have more options for employee benefits and all, but as of now, but we are taking this webinar towards the technology help. How a technology help to HR persons. So these highlighted options which we have given, I'm damn sure that this will help to the HR part. So it's now Shubham, please.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prashant. One option that I was excited to see was the chat option, as we were talking about the connect that which got missing during the pandemic. I think a single chat platform other than using WhatsApp or a Facebook group or an IG group, if this particular single app may help us in solving such problems and creating a group platform wherein each and every person can talk and share stuff, and I think we have a certain option wherein a particular department wise groups can be created. So that was a good part about it. So I'm sure that Rajneesh ji is still.
Sorry, you asked me a question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, sir, I didn't ask a question. I just, yeah. So thank you so much for your presentation today. And we were about to just say goodbye to each and every participants who have joined us today to this webinar. And for all those people who found our utility, our software interesting, can contact us at the phone numbers mentioned on your screen. You can take a screenshot, or you can also write us with your queries to contact us at the rate webtel.co.in. And I've also mentioned our website wherein you can explore our products. So with this, thank you so much on behalf of Webtel, and thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, Shubham. Thank you, Team Webtel.